Hey class. All right, so today we're going to kind of talk about, if you missed today's lesson, this is talking about one of the iReady lessons for the week. So the first iReady lesson is practicing measuring volume of rectangular prisms. So that's just using length times width times height and area of the base times height to find the volume of a rectangular prism, okay? And just a reminder that if you are finding the volume, your answer is going to be cubic units, whatever that is. The area will be square units, or whatever it is, like centimeters, inches. And then if you're just in length, width, or height, then your answer is just in plain units, centimeters, inches. It's not cubic or square. Okay, so that's just a little review about volume of rectangular prisms. What we're going to go over today is talking about the volume of composite prisms, which means it has more than one prism attached in it. So it might look something like this, okay? And we actually talked about this last week, okay? So we talked about having two prisms, one next to the other, like this. We have two rectangular prisms, and we said, okay, well, what would we do if this was a certain volume and this was a certain volume, and we talked about that we would add them up to find the total volume, okay? So we're going to be doing a lot of that here today. So let's say that we have prism A and prism B. Prism A, our height is 2, our width is 3, our length is 4. How would we find the volume of prism A? Okay, so let's say that these are all in inches. Okay, so we find that by doing length times width times height. Well, the length is 4, width is 3, and height is 2. When we multiply that together, we get 24 cubic inches. Now let's find the volume of B. Now the width is the same, so 3 inches. The length is 5, and the height is 4. We do the same thing. Length is 5 times width, which is 3, times height, which is 4. And we end up getting 60 cubic inches. Now to find the total amount, all we have to do is add these up. 24 plus 60 is 84 cubic inches. So that is our total volume. Okay? So something else that you may see is trying to visualize when you have a couple different prisms, what it would look like if you put them together. So let's say that you're given two different prisms. So we've got this prism, let's call this prism A, and this prism, which is prism B. So we have prism A, and we have prism B. And we're going to sort out some of these different shapes and see which one would be able to fit where. So if we had this and we put these two together, and under which prism would this be able to fit? Prism A. Because if we slid those two together, it would look just like prism A. What about this one? Yep, prism B. Because if we were to stick those two on top of there, it would look just like prism B. What about this one? Yep, prism B, because if we were to just slide them right next to each other, it would look just like prism B. And last but not least, this one, prism A, because if we stuck this on here, it would look just like prism A. So you have to kind of visualize, okay, if I were to stick these together in the way that they're shown, which of these prisms is it going to look like? Okay? All right. Take these off here. Okay. So what if we had something that looked like this? So instead of there being 2, we now have 3, kind of similar to the last thing we did. So the first one, the volume is 50 centimeters cubed. The second one is 40 centimeters cubed. And the third one is 30 centimeters cubed. what would the total volume be? Well, the total volume would be us adding up 50 plus 40 plus 30. 50 plus 40 is 90, plus 30 is 120 cubic centimeters, or centimeters cubed. Okay? So when we're finding total volume, we just have to add up the volumes. Now, what if instead of us finding the total volume, we're given the total volume? So the total volume is 155 cubic inches. And the volume of prism A is equal to 40 cubic inches. What is then the volume of prism B? Well, we know that prism A plus prism B is going to give us our total volume of 155. So we need to figure out what we can add to 40 to get 155. If you can't think of that at the top of your head, we can also subtract 40 from 155 and see what's left. So 5 minus 0 is 5, 5 minus 4 is 1, 1 minus 0 is 1. So prism B has to be 115. We can check that by adding 115 plus 40 and making sure that we get 155, which we do. So our prism B volume is going to be 115 cubic inches. Okay, so if we're given the total volume, we can find the volume of the other ones by just filling in that other space by either adding or subtracting to find that extra piece. Okay, all right. Now, let's say that we have a prism A and a prism B again. And we need to find the total volume. So we know that this is 2, 2, 10 is our width, 5 is our height, 10 is our width, 8 is our height. Okay. Again, we notice that the width is the same throughout, okay? So to find the volume of prism A, we do length times width times height. Well, it's 2 units long. So I'm just using units for this one. 2 units long, 10 units wide, and 8 units long. Now remember, it doesn't matter in which order I multiply this. I could do 2 times 10 times 8. I could do 8 times 10 times 2. It's whatever is easiest for me. So I'm going to do 10 times 2 is 20 times 8. So that's 160 cubic units. Now let's find the volume of prism B. Well, my length is 2. It doesn't quite look like that. Look like it's 2, but it's 2. Excuse my drawing. The width again is 10, and then the height this time is 5. So we just do the same thing. 2 times 10, 20, times 5, 100. Or you could have done 5 times 10 is 50, times 2 is 100. So pretend this is 2, right? So now to find the total, we just add it up, 100 and 160, which equals 260 cubic units. Okay. Now you may be given some prisms that won't be given a certain measurement, and you have to figure out what that measurement is. So let's say we're given this, okay? They haven't split it into anything. It's just a composite prism. So it's given us that our length is 12 centimeters. Our height is 15 centimeters. Our width is 4 centimeters. This length is 5 centimeters. This length is 7 centimeters. And then this height is 7 centimeters. So we need to think about what we know. Well, we know that this is the total length of the entire prism. And this length is 7 and this length is 5. These two add up to the total length. We know that the width is 4, and the width is 4 throughout the entire prism. So the width here is 4, here, and here is 4. We know that this is the total height, and then this height and this height add up to 15. So 7 plus this height is going to give us the total 15. So we say, okay, 7 plus what can give us 15? Well, 7 plus 8. So this must be 8 centimeters. Okay. So now it wants us to find the volume. Well, we can't find the volume unless we know how to find the volume for a rectangular prism. So what we can do is we can split this figure into 2 rectangular prisms. So we have 2 different ways that we can split it up. Well, we can split it up to look like this, or we can split it up to look like this one. Okay? So let's split it to look like, let's split it to look like this. We'll go back to this one, our AB that we had before. Okay. So let's find the volume now of prism A. So let's think really, there's a lot of numbers here, so we have to really decide what matters for prism A. Well, how long is prism A? Is it 12? No, because 12 is the entire length. So we have to figure out, okay, well, what must be this length? It's 7. The width, we're not given the width over here, but we do know that the width of the entire prism is the same, and the width over here is 4. So the width must be 4. And then the height here is 8. So now we just do 7 times 4, which is 28, times 8. So the volume for prism A is 224 cubic centimeters. Now let's find volume B. Well, let's see, what's the length? Is it 12? No, that's the total, but here is the length, so 5. The width, again, is 4. And the height of prism B is 15. So we multiply that, 5 times 4 is 20, times 15. So that's 300 cubic centimeters. So now the total is we add 300 plus 224. And we get 524 cubic centimeters, or centimeters cubed. Okay, so for some of these, you're gonna have to find missing pieces and then end up finding the volume at the end. So to do that, we have to split it so that we have 2 or more rectangular prisms and then add up what we have, okay? Let's do another one. We're not gonna find the volume of this one, but let's say you have, we'll bring this one back, okay? So we know that this is 4, and this is 4. That this is 12. This is 3. And I'm putting some question marks because we have to figure out what that is. So from here to here is 7 inches, from here to here is 3. So let's figure out what our question marks are. So let's think about question mark 1. So we have, this is 4 inches, we don't know this is 4 inches, but the total amount is 12. So what must be this missing piece here? Well, we know that 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus this should be 12. So 4 plus 4 plus 4 gives us 12. So this question mark is going to be 4. Now let's look at question mark 2. It's saying, what is the width? Well, same thing. We know the width is the same throughout the entire prism. So if the width is 3 here, then the width is going to be 3 right there. Now let's look at question mark 3. So here's the total height we're trying to figure out. Well, we know that from here to here is 7, and from here to here is 3, so we have to add it up to find the total amount. 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay? So all of these are just in plain inches because we didn't find the volume or the area of anything. Okay? So that would be how you would find those missing pieces with this composite prism. Okay? All right, let's do one more where we are finding missing pieces and then finding the volume. Okay. So this is going to be 2. We know that this is 5. We don't know this. We don't know this. Our width is 3. Our height is 6. And our length is 8. Let's do feet this time. Okay, so let's find this. Let's find our missing pieces really quick. So if this whole thing is 6, and this is 2, then this and 2 must equal 6. So 2 plus 4 equals 6. Now let's look at this one. The total length is 8. This is 5. So 5 plus blank gives us 8. 3. All right, now let's find the volume. So there are 2 different ways that we could find the volume of this. We could either find the volume by splitting it like this, or we could split it across, kind of like how we had this before. Okay, so we can either split it all the way across like that, horizontally, or we can go split it vertically. Okay, well, let's go ahead and split this vertically. Okay, we'll call this one A and this one B. So let's find the volume of A. So, which is this one. Again, there are a lot of different numbers, so it's really important to ask yourself, okay, what is the length, what is the width, and what is the height? So when I'm looking at A, I see, okay, is 8 the length? Well, no, because 8 is the total length, so it can't be the length for just A. So I have to find out, okay, the length for A is 5. Okay, then I say, well, what's the width? I'm not given the width here. But again, the width is the same throughout the entire prism. So where did I find the width? Right here. So the width is 3. And then how tall is prism A? Well, my height right here is 2. So now I just have to multiply 5 times 3 times 2. And that equals 30 cubic feet. Now time to find the volume of prism B. Again, we have to figure out which are the important numbers here. So how long is prism B? Again, it's not 8 because that's the total amount. But here we have our length. So 3. The width, which we already knew was 3. And the height, okay? Don't just say 4 because it's the closest here. We have to find the height of B, which is 6. Now we just multiply. 3 times 39, 9 times 6, 54 cubic feet. And now we just have to add these 2 up. 84 cubic feet is the total volume. So when you're doing this, please make sure that you're really asking yourself, okay, what numbers mean what? What truly is the length? What's the width? And what's the height? Okay. Please take your time on this. I will review this on Wednesday and before we go into coordinate plane for Wednesday's lesson, okay? If you have any questions, please message me on Google Classroom or email me, and I would love to answer them for you. Have a great rest of your day.